Welcome to the land of pandas.
What is up, everyone? It is Land of Pandas here to talk more about the new items of the preseason. In this video, we're talking about AD carry items and how to itemize specifically for each individual game, which you are now able to do with all these new items. So hopefully with my explanation, we're able to do it. So the first advice I will give you is as soon as the game starts, you press tab and you look at the enemy team and you look for each item you're going to need that game to counter the enemy team. It's not cut and paste, buy the same items every game. At least it shouldn't be. You should definitely think about which order to buy which items in each game. So let's start with the mythic items, and I'll tell you about which champions would really prefer to build which items, and hopefully you can go from there. But remember, I do not know everything. I have not been able to play test absolutely every item combination. This is just what I felt so far, and after doing some research, kind of what I've come up with. So, Immortal Shield Bow is the first mythic we'll talk about. Basically, you're getting a Phantom Dancer Shield with lifesteal on an item. This is great for burst champions. If you see a lot of assassins on the enemy team, or a lot of people that can have easy access to jump on you, you're going to want to buy Immortal Shield Bow. You will have a little bit less damage than the other two crit items that are mythics, but getting that shield is really, really important. It helps you survive the initial burst to be able to disengage and kite away. So build this specifically against burst champions. The next one is Kraken Slayer. You're going to build this when you are facing tanks, but not just tanks, because it does additional true damage. It is just based on your attack damage, not on the enemy at all, so it's still good at killing squishies. You're not going to be doing less damage to squishies by building this item. It is a very, very high damage item. So if you're not too worried about getting jumped on by people and you think you can dish out a lot of damage, this is probably the most consistent DPS you're going to be able to get out in those team fights. So in my opinion, this is probably the best out of the three crit mythics. And you'll use it in most situations where you're not getting jumped on. Yeah, this one's probably just like the best one. It gives you all your other items attack speed. You're going to be getting a lot of damage out of this. The next one, though, is still quite good. It gives you a dash. So as an AD carry, you know, if you're an Ashe and you don't have a dash, this can feel really good when you're trying to kite. You can kite forwards or backwards with this. It's a very, very aggressive item because it allows for kiting against champions that want to chase you or run after you, like an Udyr or a Garen who wants to run up to you. You're going to be able to dash and kite away while dealing consistent and high damage. So this is an item to build when you feel like you can kite quite a lot, and it does quite a lot of burst to one champion. So if you're really, really aggressive and you want to go for these 1v1s, this could also be the item for you. Like I said, it could be very, very good on Ashe right now. I would say it's quite good on Ashe. So those are the three crit mythics. For your crit champions, you're probably building one of these three. You know your crit champions. You got your Caitlyn, you got your Jinx, all these champions. Those are the three you'll want to buy it on. Then we've got these two lethality items, and I think they might be underrated for some of the champions. They could definitely be solid pickups. In particular, Duskblade, lethality. This could work quite well on Jhin. He doesn't often build lethality, but you know he has been known to sometimes pick it up in the past. But on your auto attack, you get that slow. It's kind of like a Stormrazor slow, and it does quite a lot of damage. But not only that, but you get your invisibility. So when you get your crit, you get your movement speed, and then you go invisible when you kill somebody in a fight. It allows you to reposition really well. I think this could definitely be a good pick for AD carries. Just being able to go invisible in a fight could be really, really strong. But usually you'd want it on a champion that doesn't care too much about attack speed or has ways to deal damage with lethality, like maybe an MF or maybe a Varus. But I would say they would maybe be more suited towards Eclipse, which gives you a shield as well. So this could also be used for AD carries. It gives armor penetration on all items. It gives you Omnivamp. It gives you lethality. But not only that, it gives you the movement speed, the shield, and extra damage when you do your little ability combo. So I think this is a viable starting option for maybe Kai'Sa. But if you're going lethality builds on some other champions like your Jhin, like your Misfortune or Varus, this could also work for you. So these are just other options. If you don't want to be building crit on some of the champions, you want to do the lethality builds. You want those lethality builds to be back in business again. Totally pick these up. Like, of course, if you're playing Senna, lethality is still a good stat on her. Eclipse could still be worth it. This is just another option. So then we got the Trinity Force items. I think Trinity Force itself is meh. I think it's okay. I think if you're playing Ezreal, you're hearing it from me first. I hope nobody else has released this information because I tested this and I haven't seen anybody else playing it. This might be my build. You freaking go Divine Sunderer, and then you get Sterix Gauge. Sorry, I missed an item in there. You also definitely need Manamune. You'll start off with Tyr. You'll get Divine Sunderer. You'll finish your Manamune, and you get Sterix Gauge, and you do so much damage, and you do not die. I think it's busted. I'm gonna get to freaking Challenger with it before anybody else finds out. But I guess I'm releasing this publicly. Divine Sunderer, I think, is better on Ezreal until they nerf it, which they probably will. I think it's better than Trinity Force right now, personally. But Trinity Force is still a viable option for any champions that would have already used Trinity Force before. I just think Divine Sunderer is just like a better version of it right now. I don't think there's really a comparison. Okay, so let's get into the base crit items. We have these crit items, and these are like the sometimes items. Bloodthirster is now a crit item. That's insane. You get 20% lifesteal, you get crit chance, you get attack damage, and you get your overheal shield, which, also helps against that burst. So whether you're building it in tandem with Shield Bow or just on its own with these items, this item is very, very good as it gives you sustain to last throughout a fight while also giving you, actually quite a decent amount of damage. It helps your scaling with crit. Fantastic. The fact that this has crit chance on it, really good item. Infinity Edge will not do that much damage early. It is much better on later when you already have a decent amount of crit chance. Otherwise, you're just not getting full value out of what this weapon actually can give you. So I feel like this item should not be built too early because you're not going to be getting actually the full value out of it. But later on in the game, if this is like your 4th or 5th, crit item, this could be very, very, very strong. Essence Reaver, in my opinion, is one of the best items for crit. On so many champions, this is going to be amazing. On your Ashe, on your Varus, if you're building crit. Essence Reaver has Spellblade on it. So it's like a Trinity Force within an Essence Reaver. You get ability haste, attack damage, crit strike chance, and a Spellblade. Holy moly, this item is good. Spellblade crits feels good, man. I think this item's awesome. Helps you with mana sustain as well. I feel like people should try using this item a bit more because of how much damage that actually increases by. You're able to burst down targets a lot faster if you're using Essence Reaver. Guinsoo's is a really, really, really strong item, but you don't build it on everybody. You build it on your on-hit, your Vayne, your Ashe, your Kai'Sa, and that's pretty much it. You won't really want it on other champions because you're going to be losing your crit damage. But other than that, it's so strong on those on-hit champions. Very worth buying. 10 out of 10 recommend for those 3 champions. Runin's Hurricane is still very strong. Nothing has really changed about it. Your bolts on hit and crit, and so it's going to be very good for the same champions it was before. Probably still, really, really good item to buy. I can't really say much about it. It's just a good item. The situations in which you'd buy it is just you want to do damage to multiple people in a team fight. It's still going to be good on Twitch, and it'll still be good on Kai'Sa. And now we have these situational items here. We've got the Mercurial Scimitar, which gives you a QSS that's crit. We give Mortal Reminder, Grievous Wounds plus crit, and Lord Dominic's Regards, tank kill plus crit. These are really, really good items, and in every game, you'll probably build probably 1 or 2 of them. Like, to be honest, you know, if they've got a tank that heals, you're going to need these two together. If they've got loads of CC and healing, you'll need these two together. Who knows? Maybe theoretically you'd need all three. Unfortunately, your damage won't be completely maximized, but as an ADC, you know, these three items together would give you a lot of utility to your team, theoretically. But yeah, you'll always have to have probably room for at least one of these in your builds. Just keep an eye out for which one is going to be the one that that helps you the most. So once again, these are the three items where you press tab at the start of the game and be like, I need to buy this at some point. They have a Mordekaiser, he's gonna kidnap me. You know, they have a Skarner, he's gonna flash army. I need a QSS early. Or they have a Vlad and Soraka and the Yuumi all at the same time by some coincidence. I'm gonna need a Mortal Reminder as soon as I can. Or, you know, at least the first part of it. So yeah, those are those items. These are the good crit items. You're probably gonna want these in your build almost all the time. And these are the sometimes items. Phantom Dancer goes really, really well with Gale Force. If you're looking for that kiting, if they've got run-at-you champions like the Udyr, like the Garen, Phantom Dancer is really, really good at kiting away from them. I personally don't think Stormrazor is that great right now. I think it's a little bit underwhelming for the champions that used to buy it. There's a lot of other items that it would potentially just be better. It'll still probably be good on some of the champions, like maybe it'll still be good on Jhin. I'm not sure. I wouldn't really recommend it all that often. Navori Quick Blades, very, very interesting idea. A little bit underwhelming in performance. Only some champions would really, really benefit from this. Probably like a Varus, whose Q would love to be off cooldown faster. And maybe some other champions, like you can brainstorm with it. Like maybe the Tristana really wants her E and Q up again in a fight. Like if her Q is always off cooldown, she's always getting that bonus attack speed, and she's always having bombs up, she's literally going to kill everybody, right? So Navori Quick Blades, just kind of brainstorm with it. It'll be a lot less strong on champions with already low cooldowns. You're not really going to get a lot of value out of it, so just keep an eye out for it. But its base stats are quite nice. This gives lethality and crit strike. Those go really, really well together. Very, very strong against squishy champions. That being said, the passive doesn't matter that much. If you're already bringing someone to 5% HP, you're probably one auto attack away from killing them, no? Like, that's just what I would imagine. It could be really good on a champion like Twitch, because maybe the poison would tick into their execute range. But otherwise, I mean, that passive seems a lot better than it actually is. Most times, if they're 5% HP, your next auto attack would kill them anyways. Rapid Fire Cannon, increasing range will always be good on the champions that it's good on, like your Jhin, like your Caitlyn. You don't always have to build it though. It's not the highest damage increase, it's just the highest utility increase, because increasing range can be really strong for champions like that, and the Senna. Manamune, I don't think it's all that great right now, but it's very nice that you can start the game off with tier and start early stacking. So it's always a must-buy for Ezreal. It is potentially a start for Kai'Sa, although I don't think it's the best start for Kai'Sa, but it is potential. Other than that, you probably aren't building this item on a lot of champions anymore. Not like you used to, at least. So then we got our on-hit items. Nashor's Tooth. You'll notice it has 100 AP. It gives 100 AP, which instantly stacks your passive for Kai'Sa. Your W passive will instantly upgrade from that. So if you're playing Kai'Sa and you want your W upgrade, you probably just need to build this like third or fourth item, and you'll get your W upgrade. On-hit items, Wit's End is really good against AP teams if you're an on-hit champion like the Vayne. I mean, play around with it. Most times, if you're building a lot of crit items, you don't really care about Wit's End that much. But if you're going Guinsoo's, it's really good with Guinsoo's. You're just dealing more on-hit damage. So it works really well together. Blade of the Ruin King, still going to be really good on your on-hit champions. The new passive Siphon will work really well. Once again, with all these other on-hits, like Blade of the Ruin King with the Guinsoo's build is really good on your Ashe, it could be good on your Kai'Sa. You could literally be building Blade of the Ruin King on Kai'Sa now. It's good on your Vayne still as well, because you get the movement speed. So Blade of the Ruin King, still good for the champions it was good on before. Could potentially be additionally good on some other new champions now. Black Cleaver is the one I want to leave up to you guys to think about. I think the new passive Carve, dealing extra damage on hit versus fully shredded enemies is really, really good against tanks. You know, the lower HP the enemy Ornn gets, they're going to be taking way, way, way more damage. So I think Black Cleaver could legitimately be an AD carry item against tanks to really, really shred them down. But, you know, getting those 6 stacks definitely, you know, takes some time. So maybe you guys have to play around with it and feel how it feels. But I think this could definitely potentially be a really good item if you're against like a full tank team. Maybe Black Cleaver is the way to go. I got question marks here because it's like, when would you build these items? Why would you build these items? Would you still build these items? I don't know. So Ravenous Hydra and Titanic Hydra can now be used for ranged people, which is really interesting because in team fights, then you could be doing all of this splash damage. Like if you have a Runins and a Ravenous Hydra, isn't that kind of like insane splash damage? You're like murdering everybody. It could be very good, right? Titanic Hydra, I mean, if you're building like a bruiser ADC build, like those, if you're going really, really intense on it, it's a very unique idea that you could actually use this in that as well. It's just an idea, right? They're probably not going to be optimal builds, but the theory behind it is you could actually use these and incorporate them into AD carry builds because they work for ranged now. Maybe ranged top laners will use it the most. All right, so we've got Sterix Gauge, and I talked about this before in Ezreal's kit. This helps you survive a lot. Holy moly. If you're building this on Ezreal, it'll help you survive. Maybe it has a place for other AD carries, but right now I'm only building it on Ezreal. Guardian's Angel pales in comparison for damage increase from all the other items. I mean, if they have all of the jumps in the world, all of the assassins, you have no choice. You have to build this item. This is a must-buy if you're constantly getting jumped on by like 50 assassins in a game. Then you just have to buy it. Like, there's no way around it, right? Or it's a really good pickup if you're about to go into a really important fight. You probably just want to pick it up. But yeah, it's not that high of a damage increase. Kind of sucks. Death Stance, it still works for ranged users, only physical damage. If you're against a full AD team, it could be really useful as an AD carry to help you survive. Otherwise, probably not that great. Not sure. I probably wouldn't build it anymore. Prowler's Claw. Okay, I thought about this and I was like, I don't have to talk about this. There's no ADC in their right mind would ever want to dash into someone. And I was like, frick, actually, you know what? Samira wants to dash into people. Samira could definitely start with Prowler's Claw. I genuinely think so. It's a lot of damage that you're increasing. You deal increased damage to the person you jumped on. Isn't that like exactly what you want to do? If you do that right before you ult, who's going to survive that? Absolutely no one. So I think it has potential, but probably just potential for Samira. I can't see any other ADC ever wanting to be that close to someone. And that is it. That's the rundown of the AD carry items. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an explanation on what all the items do, when you'd want to pick them up. You know, all these crit items, they're really, really good now, and you just have to figure out which ones to buy in which situation just by looking at the enemy team and what champion you're playing. And come up with your own builds too. Now that you know what all these items do, maybe you're gonna come into a situation and you'll be like, oh my god, this is the only time in my life where I think I should go Navori Quickblades on Caitlyn and it'll work. I have no idea. Like, maybe you can come up with something, but I think some of the builds are, you just pretty much want to throw 1 or 2 of these in your build, and then the rest will be, you know, some combination of these crit items with a combination of one of these crit items.
Here's some bamboo, you're one of us. There's so much to do in the land of pandas.